Eastern European couple that did not speak much English, but she came to the door just completely naked.
Completely naked.
Eyes, head to toe naked.
There were probably 400 people there. And I go, everyone, party's over, get out.
Hindsight, he ended up making like a 10-course meal for everyone.
In the home he didn't own yet.
In the home he didn't own.
Nothing really happened. Nothing really came of it, but it was really cool to meet like a true A-list celebrity.
You never know when they're just gonna pop in.
Welcome to the podcast called My First Deal. I'm Ben Lalez, and today we are here with Will Hazen, Billy Boy Hazen, talking about his first deal. Let's cut to the chase, Will. Tell me about your first real estate deal.
Let's go. Yeah, my first real estate deal, I was an independent agent, and my friend from out of town hit me up. He's like, Will, I need a rental. I'm moving to Chicago. I got a new job. So it was sight unseen, barely knew how to run comps, was trying to navigate sending listings through the MLS. So we stumbled across a loft-style one-bedroom in River North. It was March or April, so the market was pretty crazy for rentals. Kind of followed the listing agent's instructions with getting an app in, and it came down to, we had 6 offers on the rental, so it was highest and best. I had never done a deal before, much less the highest and best, so I'm scrambling to try and think of like, how can I win this for this guy? He trusts me. I haven't done anything
So what'd you do? How'd you win it?
I tried to run comps. I made up kind of some numbers in my head, and I was like, I kind of erred on the high side, and I was like, this is what I think will win it. Pick some brains for older brokers in my company. And I was spamming the listing agent after we put our terms in, like, come on, what's the timeline here? When do we find out? I was too excited to make my first commission check. I was trying to get my buddy into a good apartment, and 48 hours later, he's like, we're gonna go with you guys, and I was more jacked up than I ever have been. So.
What about your first sales deal?
First sales deal was a multi-unit in Lincoln Square. It was prospecting, which I do a lot, but I struggle to enjoy. So basically, like calling canceled or expired listings, trying to see how I can add value. For this deal, I was prospecting a neighborhood where I had done a rental, and basically they told me to kick rocks over the phone pretty quickly, and then 3 weeks later I got an email back like, hey, we're tired of being landlords, it does make sense for us to sell our multi-unit maybe.
Your first sales deal, you were on the list side.
Yes.
It's incredibly rare.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get an interview for that. They were interviewing a fair amount of other agents in the city, but I really prepared, and it was a legal 3-flat in Lincoln Square.
How much?
$610,000.
Let's fucking go. That's nice first sales deal.
I
Jesus.
had so much to learn, but being young, I was hungry, so that's what we got it done for them. And a little 1099 exchange, 1031 exchange.
Yeah, you're a 1099 contractor doing 1031 exchanges.
Me.
Let's fucking go. All right, I'm gonna tell you my first deal.
Let's go.
I was just finishing up a job as assistant to the general contractor at some big firm, and I got a bunch of money from my dad, and he's like, all right, go, do what you want. So I'm touring a bunch of properties, and I'll never forget it. It's 2010. I'm actually looking at it right here. Let me rewind. So it is 2012, and there's all these board ups. So, I'm going out, checking out 10 places, but there's one that sticks out of my mind. Like those dogs, the like metal board ups where you have to put in the combo.
Oh, yeah.
So I go in, and thankfully I'm wearing like pretty rugged boots, and I go in and I just hear crunch, crunch, crunch. You have any idea what it was?
Something from an animal.
Needles everywhere. So I'm walking through, there's needles. Apparently these people are really into pickles, just a ton of empty pickle jars. It was fucking dog shit. Listed for $60K, and I talked to my dad. He's like, throw him 20, right? It was bank owned, so I throw him 20,000. We settle at 22. So this was for me. My first deal was for me. Bought it for 22. You're actually looking at the numbers here. Put in 40. So we're in for 62, sold it for 131,000, and that was kind of it. I was off to the races.
You were sold.
I don't know if it's appropriate enough to say what else. I mean, the needles are enough, but lots of weird shit everywhere. I'm happy I didn't catch anything, but that was my first deal.
It was vacant?
Yeah, vacant, but it was being run as another business opportunity for those who may be interested in those types of business activities.
Yeah, for sure.
But my first deal for a true client, and I'm looking at it here, I'm surprised this was my first deal because I felt like I was in the business long enough. But my first deal was actually my roommate. I was living in like adult style frat house. It was like we joined 2 apartments with a wall. We were living in like this 6-bedroom, 4-bath, 2 kitchen, like those hotel rooms where you like can open a door in between units.
The joining doors.
Yeah, that's what we did. And I had this buddy who lived on the other side, and I was taking him out to see places. It was really fun. Like he would come home home from work and I'd be home. Then we'd like get in my car, go check out places. But I remember like the first offer I ever wrote was like in my bedroom with my friend, just like sitting on the foot of my bed, drafting it up. And I'm like, hey, so what do you want to put in for a close date? And he's like, yo, let's do this. And we actually discussed who the listing agent was, but that was my first deal. It was a 2-bed, 2-bath in Wicker Park on Honore before Parlor opened up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So like Division and Honore. I think I'm gonna share the story of the Lollapalooza party because I feel like we have new followers. People haven't heard it. So it was the summer of 2019. I had this crazy rental listing, 7,000 square foot penthouse. It was listed for $20,000 a month. And the seller, the landlord, calls me and goes, hey, Ben, it's Lollapalooza weekend. I have some friends. Can you furnish this vacant apartment for me so that they can stay? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, no, just take care of it. I'll pay you. I'm like, all right, God bless. So I like talk to stagers. I'm like, hey, here's the deal. How quickly can you get furniture in here? It's gonna be used and we get it done, right? So I'm talking to the people who are coming in. I fill the refrigerator, buy them some booze, and I meet them. I'm like, hey, let me show you around. This is how you operate this. This is how you open that, right? And they go, hey, Ben, on the Saturday night of Lollapalooza, we're having a party here. And I'm like, did you clear it with the landlord? I call him. He's like, yeah, it's all good. Let them do whatever they want. So I'm like, yeah. So I bring my girlfriend or my fiance, whatever, my wife. Someone, whoever she was. So she comes, I bring her with me, and we're sitting there, and it's 11 o'clock. It's midnight. And, we're texting, and they're like, we're on our way. 1 o'clock rolls around, no one's here. But finally, at like 1:30, people start rolling in. And, I'm going down, down the elevator. The elevator opens up into the unit. I'm going down, gathering people. And they start coming in like 10, 15 person bunches, just like in and in and in. And all of a sudden, someone like brings out a like portable DJ set. There's like one of like the people who performed at Lollapalooza. They were like the Thursday evening act that no one goes to, but they were performing and people were getting after it. And let's just say that there were enough adult beverages and other adult entertainment style consumption occurring.
Substances?
Yes, adult substances being consumed. And, I'm having a good time, but then it like starts to feel like it's, getting out of hand. And I don't know, like I wasn't a dad at the time, but dad mode kicks in. I'm like, I need to preserve this condo. I'm like, I'm kind of responsible. I'm the only person who actually gives a shit what happens to this place.
And you also have to rent it out.
Yeah, and
next week.
Yeah, exactly. It was also a blessing that kind of got staged, but neither here nor there. So we start hearing rumblings that Alesso is coming. Are you familiar with Alesso?
Yeah.
So Alesso's like the one of the hottest DJs in the entire world, and he caught wind of the party, and the person who was staying there, she goes, hey Ben, can you go downstairs and grab him? I'm like, okay. So I go down and I see Alesso. He's got 3 bodyguards, his manager, etc. And I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to take you up. So I take him up in the elevator. There's these 2 like 6'8" dudes like on either side. We go in, and everyone, the sea kind of parts because it's Alesso. And I'm not really into that type of music, so I don't really know or care, but I end up taking a shot with Alesso, which I hear is cool. And then
it's valuable these days, remembering that.
Yeah.
Not too many people get to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So the night continues. It's like a crescendo. Oh, this is getting intense. And then I start hearing rumblings that Alesso is gonna play a set. Even though that was amazing, like I don't really give a shit. I thought this was gonna be like a money-making opportunity for me. I'm like, I'm gonna meet all of these people. It's gonna be great. That didn't happen. So like nothing good is coming my way. That's at least my thought. And all of the lights are off. People are getting down. I sound like a fucking square, but they were they were not messing around. And I reached this thought, I'm like, either I shut this down now or something bad may happen.
Oh, I thought you were gonna let it ride.
Yeah, or let it ride.
Yeah.
But I think, it had a wraparound balcony. Someone's gonna fucking jump off, someone's gonna get pushed off, like someone's gonna burn this down, etc. So right in the midst of all of these rumblings of Alesso about to play, I turn on all of the lights. There were probably 400 people there. And I go, everyone, party's over, get out.
No.
And I single-handedly escort everyone out. I essentially like yell at the people. I'm like, this place, I don't know what you think is happening, but I'm not cleaning this place. Like, it better be clean when I get there. I don't know why. I had some drinks in me. I was feeling bold. I get there the next morning because I'm obviously like freaking out. So I get there at, I think it was like 7 in the morning. I had barely slept and I had showings that next day, but I go home, get back there 7 in the morning. It looked better than the night before.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it looked better. I do not know how they did it. It looked better than the night before. Went to the showings, and then I slept from like noon to like midnight.
They're professional partiers, man.
Yeah.
They know how to clean it
Yeah,
just as much as they know how to get down.
Now, I mean, I know that's gonna be hard to top, but fucking top it.
I don't have anything that can top that. But the most interesting story I've had in real estate was kind of my first couple months. I was covering an inspection for a condo for my team lead at the time. And, you know, inspections, what do you say, like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Ballpark
Yeah.
for a
Give or
normal
take a half
inspection.
hour, yeah.
Hindsight, it was an 8-hour inspection,
What?
but not for the reasons of, well, they brought like, it's one of those inspections where they bring the whole family, the extended family, everyone's checking everything out. It has to be perfect. But it turns out my boss's client was opening a restaurant in West Loop, and he's a pretty world-renowned chef. And, you know, he tells me, he's like, we good for a little bit? Like, he gave me a list of questions. He's like, find these things out. I'm gonna step out for a little bit. So I was like, sure. And he comes back with his wife and one of his kids and about 10 grocery bags worth of food. And he goes, looks like we're gonna be here all day. I might as well, you know, make us something. And in hindsight, he ended up making like a 10-course meal for everyone.
In the home he didn't own yet.
In the home he didn't own. So that, I'm 3 months into real estate. I hit panic mode. It's not even my client, I'm covering
Is the
it.
listing agent there?
I'm covering the buyer's agent. The listing agent was in and out a little bit, but didn't really care what was going on because she's getting it sold. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what
Yeah,
her
whatever it
motivation
takes,
was,
get it
right?
sold, yeah.
So I'm panicking. I'm 3 months in. I'm like, does he use the appliances? What's going to happen here? What if something goes wrong? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I call the listing agent, and she's like, I don't have time for this. I call the seller, who I'm not supposed to really be in contact with. I'm like, look, our clients want to cook. I explained the background, and they said, go for it. So we spent about 8 hours eating while inspecting the heating
So
system
sick.
and cooling. And
How was the food?
the food was phenomenal. He was an unbelievable chef, and then my job after was to clean up everything post-inspection. But they got it sold, and it was
A fun story. And a
one
free
of the
meal.
free meal, free days worth of food, and I learned more about kitchen appliances and tools than I probably have in the other
I love
24
that.
years of my life. So
I love that story. This is going to be story time with Will and Ben.
story
okay?
time, we make it a monthly deal.
Yeah. So the story is at that same property that I was trying to rent, the one that had the party with Alesso at it, I have a normal showing. My good friend Ken Dooley is so I'm on the list side, the landlord side. Or actually, this was when it was for sale. So it was for sale for like $4.5 million. Ken is like, hey, I need to schedule a showing. It's for a celebrity. You'll definitely know him. But Ben, please don't be late. I have everything prepared because I need to be in and out. So the showing was for, I don't know, 1 o'clock. I show up at like 12:15. I have everything just so. I have the music playing, etc. But like, 12:30, I'm waiting in the lobby, right, for 1 o'clock, coaching the door person and what I want them to say. 1 o'clock rolls around, no problem. They're not there yet. 1:15, like, hey, Ken, where are you guys? Go, we're on our way. 1:30, where are you guys?
Yeah.
1:45, 2 o'clock, 2:15, 2:30. I'm like, yo, Ken, I don't really care who this person is. You can't be an hour and a half late to a showing. He's like, it's okay, Ben, it's okay, Ben. And like, I'm kind of pissed. I'm like, who is this? I don't really give a shit. Door opens. I'm not allowed to name drop, but you for sure know who this person is. So he walks in, I'm like, oh, hello, like, big fan. And we go up. You know how you have like these perceptions of, I can say actors, what they're gonna be like? This guy was, I have this perception because he always plays this like a similar character, and he was like a really, really like moody, artsy, like filmmaker type of guy, and it kind of blew my mind. But I guess long story short, like nothing really happened, nothing really came of it, but it was really cool to meet like a true A-list celebrity.
You never know when they're just gonna pop in.
Yeah, I'll tell you
And
one
you
day.
didn't know who it was, or like you didn't.
He wouldn't
know
tell me
that-
who it was, but I recognized
right.
him, and Ken's a good agent. He would never name drop,
Yeah.
and he still has never confirmed who it was. All right, give me another one of your wildest. Tell us this nudity story.
The wildest story I have in real estate in my shorter experience was one that I probably don't want to relive ever. I was doing a showing for a buyer in Gold Coast, and there weren't like a ton of showing instructions. It was lockbox. From my understanding, the unit was vacant. no listing agent present. So I felt pretty comfortable going in. And, common courtesy, always knock, make sure nothing's going on inside. Don't want to spook anyone. And so I essentially was taking my buyer's sister to the showing, and she was going to video the condo to record and send it over before they came to Chicago as kind of a preliminary showing. So I heard some typical noise on the inside, and it sounded like they were cooking or something. So I knocked. No one came to the door. I knocked again. No one came. So I had the keys from the lockbox, and I went in. And it was an older Eastern European couple that did not speak much English, but she came to the door just completely naked. And so I said, oh, sorry. Tried to shut the door, and she's trying to talk to me, and I was like staring her dead in the face.
Completely naked.
Eyes,
head to toe.
Head to toe naked, with like tongs in her hand from the kitchen. So face to face, not looking anywhere else.
Yeah,
eyes up. And I was showing real estate broker, because the language barrier was tough. And she's like, yeah, come in. And I kind of panicked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go in, but at the same time, like, I didn't really have another choice. So I came in. She went straight back to the stovetop and started cooking. And I was just like, okay, let's go this way. So we do the showing, but pretty soon in the showing, her husband comes out of the bathroom naked.
Head to toe naked.
And he acted like I was somebody who lived there. He was not surprised to see me at all. He just, he kept walking around. I told him what we were doing.
To be clear, you kept your clothes on after
My
that?
clothes stayed on. Hindsight.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. Maybe they would have been more comfortable had I gone the other route, but I didn't feel safe in that moment. So the weird thing, though, was I had to try and explain to them that we needed to take a video for the potential buyer, and they were 100% comfortable with us taking a video while they cook and walk around, doing their business. So I hope.
Can we bring in the video? We'll blur out the parts to keep it safe for work.
The video, thank the Lord that it wasn't on my phone, and my client's sister had a really hard time doing it herself, and we thought we could navigate it with them just being in the kitchen, but the mister of the group really needed to get his steps in or something, because he was all over it. So I never want to see it again. I hope that's the strangest thing that I'll see, but it probably won't be.
No chance.
Give me something wild, something crazy.
This is wild.
Okay.
So back when I was in the house flipping game, I was in just a not so great neighborhood, and I was working for this one investor. It's actually good to have. I never get to tell this story with with props.
Oh, okay.
So the investor would he gave me a checklist, and he wanted me to write down a few things, like, hey, how many board ups, or are there any street lights, are all the lights out, like, are people keeping their lawns clean, that type of thing. So I was there with my checklist.
How many naked people?
Yeah, how many people are coming out of their house with clothes or without? Imagine I'm driving, I pull up to this house, and I had a set of criteria. Sometimes I don't feel comfortable getting out of the car, so I just don't, right? But I was like, I turned back, and right along my side is another car. Just like, I'm telling you, like an inch. If I couldn't felt like they were in my car.
Yeah.
And it was 4 young men. I see this, one guy just reach in back. No idea. It could have been the most innocuous thing. It just didn't feel like that. So I, at the time, had a really souped up, turbocharged Volkswagen GTI. It's not even that great of a car, but it had some giddy up, right?
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision, fight or flight. I wasn't gonna go 4-on-1. No, I was uncomfortable, so I floor it. They follow.
Oh no.
Chased. So it was like a big block. I was on the interior, and I'm panicking. I don't really know my way around that well, and I could not get to a major street.
Right.
And there, I'm telling you, on my bumper. I guess long story short, I make it to a main street. I literally 10 minutes later call up the investor. I'm like, sorry, I can't work for you ever again.
Yeah, this is not in my bandwidth here.
That was my wildest by far. Yeah, I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't. You're here to tell the story.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Live to tell the tale.
That is, you'd be surprised that, when you're opening a lockbox or something, you got to head on a swivel sometimes.
Yeah. And what's funny is we're not even talking about the once or twice or 3 times a year where you're showing a home, you open a bedroom and someone's just sleeping. How many times does that happen?
Right. All the time, especially with rentals. It's I've scared so many people just coming into their home with keys, and real estate isn't as glamorous as we make it look.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that was my first deal with Ben Lalez. Our guest was Will Hazen. Tune in next time where we'll have another guest talking about their first deal and all of their wildest and weirdest deals from then on.
Thank you, Ben.